Good morning. Happy October. Today's the first day of October, which is just crazy to think about. I can't believe the year has gone by so quickly. I am actually on holiday from work for 2 weeks. Well, yesterday it started, so 2 weeks from yesterday. And I really wanted to take this time to just obviously rest, because the last few months have been really crazy, but also to catch up on my reading. Originally this video was going to be like a catching up on my reading goal for the year, because I think my Goodreads goal is 35 books and I'm currently sat on 22, which means that I have like 13 books left for the rest of the year, which is not that bad. Like that's just, I think that's a little bit more than a book a week, which is fine. And obviously if I take this 2 weeks and read a lot, I will very easily achieve that goal. However, we have stepped into a little bit of a problem, and that is the fact that I am currently in a bit of a reading slump. So, slightly problematic, because I've been trying to read for the past 2 days and I've just not been able to get into it. I feel like this video is going to be a combination of like trying to catch up on my reading goal, but also trying to get out of a reading slump, because that is a bigger problem at the minute. So the last book that I read was 1984 by George Orwell, which is a classic, and if you've read it then you know it is quite an intense read. So afterwards I kind of just wanted to read something that was a little bit, you know, lighter, easier, like a palate cleanser in between. So if you watched my last video, you know I went to the library and I picked up these 2 books, which is Icebreaker and 9 Perfect Strangers. Unfortunately, I ended up DNFing both of them. I honestly can't tell you why. I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with these books. I am sure they are probably enjoyable. I'm blaming the slump. I'm blaming the slump for the fact that I've just not been able to get into either of these books. I read like 100 pages of this one, 20-ish pages of this one, and it was just not happening. So going to return these because this is not going to work. The only other book I'm reading is on my Kindle, and that is My Lady Jane, which, if you know, there is a series on Prime. There's 1 season. I think they cancelled the show, so I don't think they're going to make a 2nd season, which is really sad because I absolutely loved the series. And so when I saw it was on Kindle Unlimited, I was like, obviously I must read this, and it's not disappointing so far at all. Like, I love the writing style, and overall it's just a great story. I think it's so creative, and it takes place in an era that I like, one of my favorite historic eras. So it's not like I haven't been enjoying it. I think the only thing that's kind of getting to me is the fact that because I've watched the series, I know exactly what's going to happen in the story. And I think I kind of need something right now where I don't know what's going to happen. I need that like unexpected suspense. What's going to happen next? I need to keep reading because I want to know what happens next. I do want to keep reading this over the course of the next 2 weeks somewhere. I don't necessarily have to finish it. Obviously if I do, that'd be great, because we have a couple of books to catch up on my reading goal. But I do feel like I need something else that's just going to keep me hooked. That being said, I have a couple of errands to run today, which I absolutely need to take care of. Even though I don't want to, I have to do that. But once I get back from that, I'm going to try and pick out one of the books in my TBR, which I will show you in just a second. And then hopefully, we are going to get out of the slump. Also, it's such a like cold, cloudy, it's supposed to rain today. So the weather is absolutely giving staying in bed and reading. Like, even if it doesn't rain, just the cloudiness, it's setting the perfect mood. So as for my TBR, I'm actually really proud, guys. I only have 9 books on my TBR, which, like, it's a few, but it's not that many. So the first 3 I have is the next 3 books in the Outlander series. I think this is 5, 6, and 7. So I've read the first 4 books, but obviously these books are very chunky and they do take a while to get through, even though they're really well written. And then I also have 3 classics. So I have Frankenstein, The Lighthouse, or To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf, and then Wuthering Heights, which I really want to get to this year as well. And then we have 3 historical fictions. At least I think this one is historical fiction. The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. I've read The Secret History, and I picked this up from a secondhand bookstore a little while back. But it's also quite a thick book, so I feel like this might also take a minute to get through. And then the other 2 books I have is The Breaking Time duology by Sasha Ellsberg. So I think this is what we're going to read next, which I'm really looking forward to. And then hopefully we will fight our way out of this slump. So I'm gonna finish my iced coffee, I'm going to go and run my errands, and then when I get back, we will get to reading. It is now a couple of hours later and I almost have to start getting ready for all of my evening plans, but I just wanted to give you a quick reading update. So I am 4 chapters into Breaking Time, and so far I have to say I am quite obsessed. I'm loving everything about the story. Like, Sasha's writing style is just so descriptive and captivating, yet at the same time it doesn't make it a difficult or challenging read. And I mean, I read through these 50 pages relatively quickly, so I honestly think that this book was a great choice and that it's definitely going to help get me out of my slump, because I mean, we're already 5 chapters in and I'm just having a great time with it so far. So just like a quick summary of what this story is about. We have 2 main characters. Our male main character is from Scotland in 1568, yes, 1568, and then our female main character is from present day Scotland, and he accidentally time travels to present day Scotland where she meets him, and it turns out she's kind of like an anchor point for time travelers, I think, like an anchor point in the timeline, and that there are people who are hunting these anchor points, which automatically puts her life in danger, and then he has to protect her, and obviously there's going to be romance involved. I mean, overall I just love the concept of the story, and just the vibes are really, it's so like immersive. Yeah, I'm just having a great time all around. I just have good things to say, and the best part though is that it's a floppy paperback. Nothing hits like a floppy paperback for some reason. I feel like, especially if you're on holiday, and I actually am going away on holiday to the beach next week, so I feel like this book might not last long enough for that, but I'm really excited to be sitting and reading on the beach and reading next to the pool if the weather is good. I just hope that the weather holds up. But I'm really enjoying the story so far. Our main characters have kind of like just met each other, so he doesn't know he's in present day time yet, she doesn't know that he's from the past. I feel like we're about to figure that out pretty soon though, but I will keep you posted. So yesterday I actually managed to get a ton of reading done. Well, I say a ton, it's like 100 pages, which is probably not that many for a lot of people, but for me it's been a good while since I've read 100+ pages in a single day. So we are over halfway through the book. I have like 120-ish, maybe 130 pages left. The plot has really started to pick up. Everything is a lot more fast-paced now. Our characters know what the stakes are, they know what their goals are, and there is a little bit of tension that's starting to develop between them, but nothing like super significant has happened yet, which we love, because I love a slow burn. It is my favorite, so I am definitely here for that. I don't think I'm gonna get a lot of reading done today. Maybe this evening. I do have some other plans because Life of a Showgirl came out today. I've only listened to the album halfway, but so far loving the vibes, so obsessed with the vibes. It's such a like feel good album, and so I'm going to the premiere movie tonight, but I do have a couple of hours before that where we can get some reading done. I don't know if I'll finish the book today, but if I don't finish it today, I feel like I can definitely finish it tomorrow, which leaves us with more than a week of vacation still left. And I'm definitely going to read the sequel after this. I don't know what I'm going to pick up after that, but I do feel like we are already out of our reading slump. So goal 1 is achieved. Our second goal for the remainder of this video is to actually read enough books that I make a dent in my book like reading goal, for my Goodreads reading goal for the year. So far I'm really happy, I'm enjoying this, I'm loving the writing style, and I'm curious to see where the story is going to go, and hopefully the romance is also going to pick up, but all in due time. As you can tell, it is now a few days later. I'm back from my holiday, and I think we just need to do a quick little reading update so that everybody knows what is going on. As you saw, I finished Breaking Time by Sasha Alsberg, and honestly, perfect book to get you out of a reading slump because it's not too lengthy or too complicated. I honestly think it was the perfect length. I really enjoyed her writing style because it was descriptive yet not overly complex that it made the story too like drawn out and lengthy, and we had just enough like fantasy and magic to keep you invested. So I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much, Sasha, for sending me the signed copy. This book will forever have a very special place on my bookshelf. Then I moved on to My Lady Jane, which I was halfway through. Actually no, maybe less than halfway through. It's like 30% through this book. And also great book to read when you're trying to get out of a reading slump, in the sense that also writing style was great. I love the humor, I love the satire of the story, and I also really enjoyed the TV series. I honestly wish they didn't cancel the show and they were going to do another season, because I would have loved to see how it played out. I do think that it was a very good book to TV series adaptation. But the only thing I can say about this in terms of might not be great for getting out of a reading slump is the fact that it is super long, and I didn't realize that going into the book, but when I checked the page count on my Kindle, it was like 500 pages, so just something to keep in mind. But other than that, honestly, love the story. As you can clearly tell, we've just been reading like history and fantasy mix up, which wasn't on purpose, but I think this might be one of my favorite genres, just like historical fantasy, because what's not to love? We ended up finishing that while I was on my trip last week, and now we're busy with the second book from the Breaking Time duology, and this one's called Fracturing Fate. I'm not that far in it yet. I'm only about 24 pages out of 300, so we've still got a few more to go. But I think I'm gonna go and make myself a nice coffee, because I'm really craving a nice coffee. Actually, I have been craving one for like a few days now, and I just haven't gone around to either buying one or making one, but we're gonna make one in my new little iced coffee glasses, and then we're going to sit and read this for a bit before I have to leave for work. We're in the same spot that we were filming in yesterday, but I'm about to head off to work. I just wanted to do a quick little reading update on Fracturing Fate. I actually don't remember the last time that I read a hardcover book. I feel like they're so much more uncomfortable to hold. I'm currently on chapter 12 and we just passed 100 pages. So far I don't feel like I have a very clear indication of where the plot is going yet. I do like the fact that we are exploring more of the world and like the magic and the magical creatures in the world that are being revealed. I honestly feel like I don't have that much to say at this point, even though I'm already like a third of the way through the book. I'm definitely intrigued by the plot to see like where is this all leading to, but nothing is blatantly clear to me at this point. We just have our two main characters that have been separated. They're trying to get back to each other, which we love. We love the yearning, we love the fighting for each other, willing to give our lives up for the other person. There was a quote, I don't know where it is and I want to find it again because I feel like it was really good. This part where the love interest said, "I will pass through the veil of death to be with Loki." You just ruined my clip. Anyways, it's basically where the love interest says, "I will pass through the veil of death to be with her if I must." And if that's not the yearning we're looking for, if that's not the level of love that we are aspiring to, then what's the point? So loving this, but I have to leave for work now. I don't think I'll be able to finish the book today because I feel like 200 pages like on top of what I have read this morning might be a little bit ambitious, but I think I'm gonna try and hopefully finish the book by tomorrow so that it's done by the end of the week. It is now a few days later. I did not finish the book when I said I was going to finish it. However, I am going to finish it now, even though it's like 5 or 6 days later. I'm about to read the epilogue and then we will be done with Fracturing Fate, which has been quite intense so far, if I do say so myself. But we did finally have our two main characters reunite. One thing that I suspected was going to happen sort of did, but not in the way that I expected it. But the character that was involved, that I suspected would be involved, was involved. So I'm proud of myself for guessing that. There was definitely a lot more like magic and folklore in this book, which I enjoyed a lot. The romance was not as intense in the sequel as, or like it was less of a focus than it was in the first book, but nonetheless I had a good time. And obviously there's a lot of history involved, which we know I just absolutely love. So I'm going to read the epilogue and then we can take another book off of my TBR. I only started using Goodreads like I think maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and I don't really use it for reviews or anything like that. But the one thing that is so satisfying to me is I obviously have a, what do you call it, a reading challenge every year. And so like I said, this year is 35 books, and every time I get to go on here and take off a book as read, it just brings me so much satisfaction. That means that we have officially reached 25 books out of the 35 books. So we're 71% through our reading goal for 2025. But that means that I still have 10 books left to go, which is a few. But I've got like 2.5 months to get through them. I do think that is going to be it for this video. So thank you for watching. I definitely feel like I'm very happy that I picked up this duology as well as reading My Lady Jane, just because I love historical books, especially historical romance, and when there's a bit of like fantasy or magic involved. And I honestly think they were the perfect books to get me out of my little reading slump. So now we are ready to get back into it and tackle the rest of my TBR, which is sitting there and staring at me, especially the very intimidating and thick Outlander books, which we still have a couple left of those, but we will get to them when we get to them. Now that's all. I hope you enjoy watching, and I will see you in the next video.